Good morning. I'm holding this media briefing from home and online only today. I prefer to have the media in the room with me, but rising cases and the ongoing investigation into a possible COVID-19 outbreak at last week's County Council meeting make that an unwise move at this time. Several media members were present at the meeting, and some of them have expressed concern about exposure. As you know, a city resident who attended last week's County Council meeting tested positive for the virus. As a result, there are serious concerns from public health officials in the city and the county that others who attended the standing room only meeting are also infected. Since it was a city resident, the City Health Department is the lead agency in the investigation. Our Department of Public Health is working in tandem with the city to identify those at the meeting and through contact tracing see how wide the exposure to COVID-19 might be. Dr. Khan, our Director of Public Health, is self-isolating this week at the recommendation of the communicable disease team at St. Louis County. The city's health director, Dr. Eccles, said yesterday that everyone who attended the meeting should quarantine, including those fully vaccinated. Doing so goes above and beyond the recommendations of the CDC, but this is an extraordinary case. Most of those in attendance at the 4-hour meeting were not wearing masks, and many of those in attendance raised their voices in cheering and jeering. Both are high-risk activities in a crowded indoor space. This was not St. Louis County's finest moment. The community I love was thrust into the national spotlight for bad behavior, xenophobia, racism, and resistance to recommendations from scientists and doctors, including the CDC. As I sat at the dais with the mask on and watched the crowd, I listened to the anger, and I saw the frustration. I have seen, as I did that night, the emotions around public health orders and other decisions by public health experts to keep people from getting sick and dying. I recognize this fear and anxiety, and I do appreciate hearing these concerns. However, it saddens me that protecting lives has become divisive. We must come together to get through this pandemic. It's the only way forward. If there was ever a time for bitter partisanship, this is not it. This type of behavior distracts from the incredibly difficult work of our public health experts and hospital systems over the past 18 months. We all need to be on the right side of history. There's a court case this morning on the county mask requirement which went into effect along with the one in the city last week. We are hopeful the judge will agree that our mask requirement is proper and needed in St. Louis County, as was seen last Tuesday night. Masks can help us slow the virus and keep our businesses open and our schools on track to open in an in-classroom learning environment. St. Louis County's mask requirement is an easy way to make a big difference. Yes, it's unfortunate that many of those Tuesday night ignored the law, but that's what happened. And as a result, this is where we are, wondering how many people were exposed to the virus and how many people will become sick from the virus. It's time to stop the name-calling, the intimidation, and the spreading of misinformation. It's time to work together. This variant is a real threat to our community and our country. The anger, real and processed, must end if we want this pandemic to end. The investigation into Tuesday night's meeting and the treatment of Dr. Khan is ongoing. We have asked for all video that captured what happened inside the chambers and in the lobby. Many people who attended the meeting were taking photos and videos. We hope they come forward to help us with our investigation. The virus is raging. We must take it seriously and put steps in place to curb it. In the past 2 months, we have seen our cases rise at alarming levels. 2 months ago, we were around 40 cases a day. We are now at 274 cases per day. Early in the summer, our infection rate was 2.9%. Today, it's 11.4%. We need more people getting tested. We need more people getting the vaccine. And we need to unite against this 100-year event. The longer we fight public health decisions, the longer the pandemic continues to have the upper hand. Thank you for joining me here today. I have received one question on the lack of enforcement of the mask mandate at last week's council meeting. how can business owners be expected to enforce the mandate? And will the mask mandate be enforced at future public meetings? First of all, we need to recognize that the sentiment in the County Council room at the last Tuesday's meeting does not reflect the sentiment in the community. We've seen widespread acceptance of the mask mandate in our community, in businesses and other places where people gather, especially since the public health protocol was ordered a week ago. So we don't think what we saw on Tuesday was reflective of community sentiment, but it certainly is reflective of some feelings in the community. As far as businesses enforcing the mask mandate, many businesses have kept in place mask requirements because it's their policy. Many employers have kept in place mask requirements because it's their policy, and I expect them to continue to do that. At this point, the enforcement is not on the business. It's an individual requirement. We'll take compliance on a case-by-case basis, as we always have from the beginning. We expect this question to be settled, at least in part, this week in court, and we'll continue this conversation. We are reassured that the vast majority of folks in St. Louis County just want to know what the right thing to do is so they can do it to keep themselves safe and keep their loved ones safe, and I expect that to continue moving forward. Okay, thank you.